Hey everyone, how are you? How are you? How are you? I am Louise, and I am the host of the Be Whole, Be Free virtual summit where we have over 40 experts sharing with you about all kinds of really good stuff. We're talking about relationships. We're talking about business. We're talking about health and wellness. We're talking about your spirituality. We're just talking about all those things that you need to feel good about you and all these other things that are going on in your life. But today, right now, right here, we have something really special going on. These are our business experts. Not all of them, but few. And they are here to share their knowledge and expertise, hopefully a few laughs with you here today. So first off, I want them to have a chance to introduce themselves, tell them who they are, and what it is that they do, because they're all so very different and all needed, regardless of what you're doing in your professional and your personal life. Greg, would you like to go first?
Sure. Thank you very much for having me. My name is Greg Russell from Success Team Marketing Group. I run a digital marketing agency, and I love helping entrepreneurs navigate the internet and use tools that they most likely wouldn't find without my help. So I love helping people grow their business online.
Thank you so much, Greg. Famira? You're on mute, sweetheart.
Of course, the very thing she had just said. Hi, everyone. I am Famira. I'm your soul strategist for women entrepreneurs. I work with healers, mystics, and spirit-led thought leaders into creating their soul-inspired empires through marketing, branding, and platform creation.
Thank you so much. Faith?
Hi, everyone. I'm Faith Clark, and I'm intuitive strategist. And that just means I help people think through the how of what they're going to be doing in their businesses. I help eclectic businesses think about how to get their core DNA into their staff, into their team, and into the world.
Wonderful. Let's see who do I have next. Marsha?
Hello, everybody. I'm Marsha White. I'm the founder and CEO, Chief Experience Officer of Gratitude Speak. And Gratitude Speak is a coaching and speaking platform to help you stay out of, as a business or a brand, the 68% of businesses and brands that consumers say they will not do repeat business with because of perceived indifference. So when you work with us, you have increased retention, referrals, and revenue.
Thank you so much. Seneca, did I say your name right? I always think I'm going to say it wrong.
That's right. You got it. So I'm Seneca Williams, also known as Ask Coach Sen, and I am an entrepreneur mindset and performance coach. I help aspiring women entrepreneurs who are afraid of failure, afraid of success, launch and grow their businesses with confidence. So I help them to conquer their fears in business.
Thank you, L'Oreal.
Hi, everyone. My name is L'Oreal Moss. You can find me all over social media at the L'Oreal Moss. And I am a business system strategist, podcaster, and small business mentor. And my goal is to help you de-stress your tech and build teams and seamless systems that help you profit with ease.
And Miss Burt.
Hi, everyone. I am Roberta Spate, known as Miss Birds to all my friends and families. I am the founder of Dreams Empowerment Network, where I help women to reclaim their dreams by helping them push out those dreams and have a strategy and really a plan to succeed in reclaiming their dreams once again and start living.
Thank you so much. See, I told you, they're all so very different and have so much to share. So we're going to get right to it with our lightning round, all right? And we're going to start with Greg, and we're just going to go on. Greg, what are you reading right now?
Right now, I'm reading The Exit Strategy by Jeff Ducharme. And basically, this book is how smart business owners build and avoid the 10 mistakes that ruin the sales of businesses. So in the book, he's talking about building your business in a way so that you can eventually sell it. A lot of times we spend so many hours and energy building a business only to just let it fizzle out if you ever get burnt out. And he's like, don't do that. Build it to sell it at the end, where you can get so much more of your money back out of it from all the work you've put into it. So it's the Exit Lever by Jeff Ducharme.
Excellent. Who's next?
Yes,
I'll go.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was like, I don't know if we're going the same order we went before.
Whatever order is fine.
Okay. I'm reading Let Love Have the Last Word. Well, actually listening to it. I'm an audiobook person, and that's the new book by Common. And so it's very good so far.
Thank you. Next.
I'll go then. I'm reading Would You Do That to Your Mother? It's a book on customer experience written by one of my unofficial mentors, Jean Bliss of Customer Bliss. And it's really asking you the pivotal question: when you are dealing with your clients, would you say that? Would you treat your mother that way? That's the litmus test. And if you wouldn't do that to someone you love or respect, why would you do it to clients?
Nice. Next.
I'm reading Get Rich Lucky Bitch, and it's self-explanatory. It's mindset and moving the junk out so that we can just earn what we want, and then once we've hit there, earn more.
Wonderful. I'm gonna get that book. L'Oreal, what are you reading?
I'm reading Atomic Habits by James Clear, and it is a book all about, it's not just about time management, it's about creating habits in a way that they're sustainable. So instead of just jumping straight into, I'm going to completely change my diet so that I can lose weight, it's about these kind of micro goals that build into these lifestyle changes over time.
Nice. Roberta? You're on mute.
Yep. I'm reading Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And I'm also reading The Kabbalion.
Good book. I've read that one. Coach Sin?
Okay, so, most people start businesses and try to level up and do stuff, and they get stuck. So I'm reading this book. It's called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And it's about the upper limit problem and how we get stuck. We're afraid of success and we get stuck. So it explains and breaks down what is actually happening to us.
I see that I have some books that I need to add to my I think I need every last one of them. All right, we're going to get started into the nitty gritty. Like, I'm about to dig deep into y'all's business. And so this first question is for Faith. Faith, how do you push your clients out of their comfort zone? And I specifically picked this question because I know what you do.
I was like, how do you know I push them out of their comfort zone? I was like, how did you know? I feel like the outside of the comfort zone is the place where learning and change happens. So part of what I do is that I ask a lot of questions, but I build really deep trust relationships with people first so that they can allow me to really poke on some of those hard areas. I don't accept I don't know. When I ask a question, even just today, I was doing a class and they were like, I don't know. I was like, no, you know. And when people say, oh, it could be this or it could be that, I said, pretend I have a gun to your head. You have to choose. And it's like, well, I wonder if, I think I could. But then I said, if your kid was at the stake, what would it be? Because I really do think that we have an intuitive knowing, but many of us have been taught to not know. And so I challenge people to know the stuff that they're afraid to know. And then it's like, okay, if that was the case, then how do you act on that? So I challenge any belief. If you say to me, this is what you want, and then you are expressing a belief that is counter to that, like I pointed out. And it's like, okay, so you want this, but you believe that. How do these two go together? And what are we going to throw out? Are you going to throw out the thing you want? Or are you going to throw out this belief you have? And then what's that going to take? So I tend to aggravate the contrast and just kind of pop them up, and then let's see what we have here and what are we going to toss out. So that's what I
love the fact that you said aggravate, because that seems like something I would do. I'm going to aggravate you until you get the answer that you need in order to move forward. So Mira, I'm going to ask you the same question.
So actually a lot similar. The women that I work with, part of why they work with me is around their messaging and really being able to stand up and stand in what that messaging is authentically, fully undiluted. And so with that, because a lot of women are dealing with systematic issues around sexism, racism, and different things as far as people putting them in a box, it's often hard for them to break out and really say things how they want to say it. And because they're always trying to check off, oh, it's how someone else going to think. So a lot of times I do have to push them out of their comfort zone and I can always tell when they want to say something and they really don't say it. And so a lot of my clients actually say that I have more of like the cool ass auntie her persona, where it's just like, come on, let's stop playing games. That's not what you want to say. What do you want to really say? And reading their face to really be like, no, that first thought, what was that just came up, and having them to say it. Because what I find is if they're comfortable, once they get comfortable saying it, at least to me, then they're able to start sharing it through posts. And then eventually we move to video until they actually are fully comfortable owning all of who they are, because in order to really, like Faith did, to really embrace your message, there is an internal knowing. That's why it's soul inspired. Your soul does know what you're here to say and how you're supposed to say it for the people that you're here to reach. And so I'm here to kind of pull that out. Let's go.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have anything else or different that they want to add to that? Awesome. We will move on to the next lightning question. What do you do for self-care? And I'm going to pick on Greg because I don't think we hear enough from our men when it comes to self-care, because that's not just for us ladies. Everyone, especially if you're an entrepreneur, you need some sort of self-care in your life. So Greg, go ahead.
I take time for me, and a lot of times I'll say, all right, on this day, I'm having a man's night out. And my man's night out is that I go out and I enjoy myself. I love going to the movies. And for me, like a movie may not be a big deal, but for me, it's out of the house, out of the office. It's engulfed in some story for 2 hours where I'm not answering my phone. I'm not reacting to anything, just completely engulfed in some story. And I just love going out and going to the movies. It makes me feel really good. I get all excited. And there's some really cool movies out now with all the, the superhero movies coming out. So I that's my thing. I like going to the movies. Now, the other thing, I'll just throw this in here right quick, that I absolutely love is jet skiing. So get out on the water with a jet ski and just do it. So that's something I love. And I make sure I get that in a couple times a year as well.
Oh, wow. I don't think I've ever been on jet skis. Going to have to try that.
You should
Roberta,
definitely try it. You should definitely try it.
Thank you. Roberta, what do you do for self-care?
Well, I've learned how to really take care of self in the last 2 years, and especially last year, since I left corporate. I really needed to find myself, mind, body, and spirit. And so I started exercising again. I started saying no more often. And I picked up meditation, which has helped me tremendously in being centered and focused and relaxed. So those are some of the things that I do, besides traveling and all the other things. But those are some of the immediate things that I do now that really has helped me get to where I'm at today.
Marcia?
Well, some of those I'm going to mirror some of the responses. I've meditated for a long time, so that's always a plus for me. But in the last few months, I started to swim again and do water aerobics in a warm therapy pool. It was initially to rehab my knee because I had an unexpected meeting when I left my daughter's scooter and landed on my neighbor's grass. But anyway, that's a whole nother, don't laugh, Tessa. That's so wrong. But anyway, just get it out. Anyway, I've grown to love it. So now I get on the stationary bike, or I'm in the pool, either the swimming pool or the therapy pool. And it's wonderful because, like Greg said, when he's at the movies, nobody can reach him by phone. That's my happy place, because I stay on the phone, or online all day. So I go minimum 5 days a week, and it just is wonderful. And then at night, to shut down and kind of quiet and center myself, like Roberta said, meditation. I get my different stones for what I've been feeling and let that energy pass through those, and I'm good to go.
Oh, that sounds so good. L'Oreal?
Well, I have gotten back into reading my oracle cards. So that's something that I do. Sometimes I just go and lay under the covers. I'm someone, you will always see me with some sort of a sweater or something. I'm a blankets person. I have a blanket, even though like I'm hot now, I still have my feet covered up with a blanket. So sometimes I just get under the covers and barricade myself and like make a fort in the middle of my bed and close my door like this is mommy time. And you know, sometimes I just turn on some music and twerk, make it do what it do. So that's my self-care.
I am here for all of that. Samira?
I have recently created what I'm calling Rejuvenation Sundays. And so on those days, like I totally shut down. I don't do anything. Nobody can ask me to go nowhere. Nobody can ask me for nothing. Like my friends and family know, don't ask me to show up and have no responsibilities on Sunday. And I just pretty much do whatever I want to, whether that means laying on the couch all day, whether that means, taking a bath or reading, or maybe it does mean I'll go out. But it's just really like whatever I want to do to rejuvenate in that moment and that time of rest. I may just stay in the bed, whatever the case may be, but just whatever I feel like on that day, that's my day.
Awesome, awesome. Who haven't I called? Faith?
I take racks of alone time. Like I have 3 kids and we were all homeschooled and stuff. So it's just alone time. Alone time could be in the car, in the garage. And sometimes people are like, where's mommy? And she's like, she's in the car. She's in the driveway. I listen to audiobooks. I take time to drive alone. So I'm going to workshops instead of flying. I drive sometimes. And then that means I book out this 6-hour drive by myself in the car with my favorite audiobook. It's just like no people in Contessa. And then I have a meditation practice, but it is, yes, so I spend about an hour, and I realize that I have a deep need for being alone. So 15 minutes and 20 minutes of guided meditation just wasn't enough. And if I have the time in the morning, I'll just stay. And even if I fall asleep, it's just like, this is just me being on my own agenda. So that's my self-care.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, and I say no to things in my business that I don't enjoy.
That's a big one. That's a big one. Coach Sin?
So this was a good one. I do all of that. What all y'all do. I love when I'm the last person to answer. But I'll say this. For those of you who don't know, my background is as a licensed therapist, so I have to practice what I preach. And self-care is so very important. It's so important. And because it's so important and I have to practice what I preach, I actually created something called a self-care prescription. So it's like, I call it a selfie script. And in the self-care prescription, it's like mind, body, soul. So I know if I'm covering all these areas, I'm good. Sometimes it's not all at the same time. So for me, I wake up in the morning to Alexa playing gospel music. Like she wakes me up with gospel music. And like, she's very nice. She'll be like, hey, good morning. And all of that. I don't know how she knows to say that, but she'll wake up and she'll tell me what's going on in the news and all that stuff.
I'm not sure.
See?
Like you called.
Exactly why I moved her out of my bedroom. Exactly why I moved her out of my bedroom.
Like, there she goes. So, I have that going. That's for my mind. I listen to a lot of motivational speakers like Gary Vee. I listen to Lisa Nichols, these different people. So I get that inspiration. For body, I love to dance. I'm Caribbean, so my thing is soca, but I could twerk too. I like riding bikes. I think for me, I realize when I am getting to burnout and I'm starting to like, you know, you feel when it's coming on, you feel like you're crashing. I need to be outside, outdoors. So like just going to a park with the trees and the greenery and like a big body of water, just standing there and looking at it. Like that is like self-care for me. So I am very spiritual. So I spend time with anything that feeds my soul. So yeah, I do a self-care prescription. So when I hit all those marks, I know I'm going to be good.
I'm going to need for you to write me one of those scripts because I think I need one.
Clients write it themselves. Like we go through what do you like to do or whatever. And like, you know, we collaborate on it and they write their own self-care prescription.
Nice, nice. All right, Greg, I'm going to pick on you right now. What does business success look like for you and for your clients?
I think it's different. Well, I think for me, it's one thing. And, you know, for my clients, I think they may have their own definition of what success is for them. You know, a lot of times when you talk about business and success, everybody, you know, first thing is money and the financials. But it wasn't that way for me. It was all about freedom for me from the very beginning. And I started very young. I started when I was 14 years old. And I struggled for a long time to make some money. But ultimately what I wanted was I never wanted to have a job. It just, you know, it really irked me when I had to have a job. And I just hated being somewhere at a specific time. And it just was never, I don't know. I just hated it. I just couldn't, it was just really, really bad for me. It just didn't work out. So I've always, I mean, from a very young age, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and success for me was being able to work from home, which I'm able to do. The opportunity to allow my wife, because at that time I was hoping I would be married, to be able to choose if she wanted to work or not. And for me, I wanted that freedom that came with entrepreneurship. And so for me, business success is being able to have the time and the finances to do the things you want to do. And so I think a lot of people, you know, chase that. And I think that what I think some people really need to focus on, and if you guys are familiar with Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant, right? He talks about, you know, whether you're an employee, whether you're a small business owner. And I think sometimes we get so focused on doing the business and working the business that, this is for me, you know, because there has been a time when for years I was a workaholic where it's all about working the business and you never have that freedom. So it's like, well, what am I doing here? I wanted to be free. And so I started this thing, but now all I'm doing is doing the thing, right? I'm still don't have the freedom. So you have to make sure you step back and look at it so that you give yourself the freedom, so that the business is actually working for you and you not always working the business. You have to set it up so the business works for you. And I think sometimes, a lot of entrepreneurs lose sight of that. So business success for me is setting up my business where the business works for me and it gives me the finances and the freedom to do the things that I really love to do, like go to the movies and get on that jet ski.
Right? I'm like, I can see you now on that jet ski. It's like, I've worked, I've done everything I need to do. I am out. Marsha, this question is for you also. What does business success look like for you, and if you can, for your clients as well?
Okay, well, for me personally, it is being able to provide for myself from the comfort of my home, but not really from my home, because, you know, we're all in a digital space, or most of us, I guess, are in a digital space. But when my clients, for me, the measure of success is when they get it, when they are fully present and that they are committed to doing the work. It's funny because there's a girl most of my clients are not in the city that I live in, but there was one that reached out to me because they heard that on a live stream recently that my rates are going to increase August 1st. And so I kind of did like a last call. Yeah. And so she reached out to me and she said, you know, we had a little discovery call. She says, well, if I decide to work with you, what what can I expect from you? And I said, absolutely nothing, unless you're willing to do the work. Because all I can do is what I do. You have to bring a certain something to the table. All right. But beyond that, and I don't mean that flippantly. I mean, I really do want them to get it, because what I know is possible, because I've done it in a former career before I realized client experience was actually a thing with a name and an identity all its own. When their metrics are on fleek, when they get it, and a lot of the customer service customer experience or client experience metrics, a lot of it's alphabet soup. I mean, you've got VOC, voice of the customer, CLV, customer lifetime value, CEX, churns, customer failures, that kind of thing. But when they get it, and we can manage those, because we all know what gets measured gets managed, they see an increase in their client retention, in their client referrals, and in their revenue. So it's a good day for everybody when they plug into it, because I've raised my 3 children, and however they choose to live their life, tell them, don't blame it on my mama. She and daddy did the best they could. So I'm not going to raise grown folks that are investing with me. How about that? And as nice as I appear, it's not always that way when I'm coaching, because I'm going to challenge you. But like I told the girl recently, you can expect absolutely nothing from me if you don't have the expectations set for yourself and you don't show up and do the work. It's your choice. But no refunds for foolishness.
Look, I'm just going to have to change my T-shirt now. So it says no refunds for foolishness. Because that right there, we can have a whole nother panel on that subject matter right there. You were speaking to my soul with that.
But so many people have said, well, this program doesn't work and that coach doesn't know what they're talking about. But then the other part of that, the flip side of that is, did you do the work? Did you try it? Did you make an effort?
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not the juicy part. So,
Plus
yeah.
it's much easier to blame someone else
Absolutely.
for our failures and for our shortcomings than it is to actually take personal responsibility. All right, so here we go. What are you guys listening to? What's your favorite podcast? And I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, only because the talking in my ear all day long is something that I can't do. So I can only take it in short spurts. I usually listen to like short things. But for those of you who do listen to podcasts and enjoy it, I know Faith does. What are you listening to? Okay, there you go.
So I listen to Life Coach School sometimes. I have podcast Feast and Famine though, right? So when I'm feasting, Life Coach School is good. And how I built this, I think, an NPR podcast, that's pretty cool, because entrepreneurs go on and just say what their deal is, and that's good to hear the story behind the thing,
Mm-hmm. And L'Oreal, you have a podcast.
Yes.
So when you're not listening to your own, what are you listening to?
Because I just love the sound of my own voice. But outside of that, when I'm not listening to my own podcast, seriously, I listen to my episodes all the time. But when I'm not listening to my show, I'm listening to Unfit Christian. I love that podcast. I'm listening to Amanda Steele's podcast, and I'm also listening to the Relationship Woe Show.
Nice. Anyone else listen to podcasts?
I love podcasts, so I have like a whole list over here. But
go.
All of that. No, but I listen to Billionaire Lifestyle with Emmett Muckles. Is a good podcast. I also listen to Amanda Steele, Small Doses. I just recently started checking out a new one called The Nod. So I listened to that, and then also The Frequency Fix with Stephanie Sinclair. Those are my top ones, but I have about 10 on my list. But those are the top ones, because this is supposed to be flashy. This is supposed to be flash. So.
Anyone else a big podcast listener?
I am. I listen to the Speaker Lab, the Daily Boost, Mind Your Business. Those are the top 3 that I constantly listen to. Those are my top 3. But like the others, I have a list of ones that's on my phone that I rotate through during the day.
I love how everybody grabbed their phone. It's like, which one do I want to name? Just a whole list of, and I love how just information can be right there at your fingertips. You don't have to go far because everybody usually keeps their phone right beside them. Anyone else have podcasts want to mention?
I don't really listen to podcasts, but YouTube. I consume a lot of YouTube.
Yeah.
Maybe I just need to see. I'm visual. So on YouTube, there's Mel Robbins. She has like some different things on motivation, or I should say non-motivation, because she doesn't believe that you need motivation to get stuff done. She has something called the 5-second rule. So I don't know if anyone ever heard of that. Like, just get it done. I listen to Gary Vee. He's a very straight shooter, in your face, talks about stuff. Also for inspiration and stuff like that, Lisa Nichols. So like those are the people like I'll consume like a lot of information from YouTube.
Excellent. And thank you so much for including YouTube in that, because a lot of podcasts are also on YouTube as well for those like me. I'm a visual learner. I would much rather watch than to actually just listen, because then I'm off in my own head again and I didn't hear anything that you said. So Roberta, we're going to circle back around to you, and I am going to ask you, what do you think is the one thing that are holding back most business owners?
I think what I hear actually is that they don't know where to begin. It's too much information. Their mind is clogged and they're confused. They don't know where to begin. So
how do you help
why I come in and help them sort out what is it that they want and where to begin.
Excellent. Anyone else would like to answer that question? The floor is open. What do you believe is the number one thing that is holding back most business owners?
I'll take a stab at it. I think fear. They're really afraid of, because everything is so instant now. It's not where you have to wait for news to be uploaded through the wire service. I mean, people are out with cell phones everywhere, and they're afraid of saying the wrong thing, not looking dressed up enough, or not looking, feeling, or sounding polished enough. They're afraid of going into a market that has a lot of other people in it. And I've had that, because even though I specialize in client experience, I'm still a business coach. And I will tell people, the best example I can give you, if you're afraid of being a brand in a crowded market, but how crowded is it really? It's crowded in the little space that you know of. Go to any grocery store in any city. I don't care if it's a corner market or if you're going to a big chain. Go in the bread aisle. There are at least 15 or 20 different brands. It's all bread. I don't care if it's white, wheat, rye, pumpernickel, marble, whatever it is. And they all have a unique audience, because nobody can do what you do the way you do it. So let's stop being fearful. And this is talk that I had to give myself, And so I've spent many a day in the bread aisle remembering that lesson, because I try to practice what I preach, So I think if you're wondering about, is there a place for me? Just what does it say? Just do it. Just do it afraid. We're all afraid. We all are trying to figure it out. But in order to get to the next level, was it Martin Luther King that said, every journey starts with a single step? Just take the step. Good Lord, find some help. There's how many business
we got all this help right here. All this help right here.
That's what I was trying to count. I was trying to count how many squares are on the thing.
All this. We're here to help you with that.
The market, though, because like you said, Marcia, there's it's so much out there, and people get afraid. Even sometimes when I start to process things, the information is coming so fast and so quickly and so much. People get overwhelmed and they get paralyzed. And they can't figure out which way do I go. I mean, I heard this way, and I heard it do it this way, and I heard it do it this way, and I had to cut some of my communication off of social media because it started to consume me so quickly and so much. I got in a position where I just like froze. I'm like, what am I doing? Am I doing this right? I thought I was on the right track, but maybe I should go left now, or maybe should I go right, or, and it's the society that we live in. It's what we live in now. That quick information that it's just always going at you, and you're hearing so much. Like you said, you look on social media, you know, there's a zillion of coaches on there, and everybody's telling you something different. And how they got to where they are, and how, I made 6 figures by doing this, and I made 6 figures by doing this. You don't have to do that. And then the person's like, well, I just listened to 3 other coaches, and they say I have to do this, and then I listened to these coaches, and they say I have to do that. I don't know what to do, kind of thing. So it is a big part of fear, and a big part of the overindulgence of information that's out there too.
Yes, I would definitely have to agree. Does anyone else have something different to add?
I do.
Yeah. Okay.
I agree with.
We'll get to all of you. Go ahead, Coach Sin.
Who raised their hand? Okay. So I agree with fear, but here's I'll go another level deeper, because I always say it's like peeling back the layers and like the onion layers. When people are afraid of being in business, it's because since we were children, we were not trained to be business owners. We were trained to be employees.
Yes.
So most people, and they've been employee of the month. They have been successful at their jobs. They come out here to be an entrepreneur, and they think, okay, I've been employee of the month. I'm going to be entrepreneur of the year. And it don't work like that. You know, I went to school to become a therapist. They did not teach me how to have a business and get rich. So now you're out here and you're like, okay, I'm smart. And most of my clients, they are intelligent women. They have PhDs, 3 master's degrees, certifications, all this stuff. And then it's like, okay, start a business. And you were not trained or conditioned to even think for yourself, because you spent your whole life with someone telling you what to do and how to think and where to move and what to do. So now you're out here like, okay, well, you can do whatever you want. What?
Yes.
And then I'm afraid, right? Because I'm afraid. I don't know what to do. My boss used to tell me what to do. And then before that, my professors told me what to do. And before that, my parents told me what to do. So like, there's a whole mental shift that needs to take place when you want to be an entrepreneur. Like, people are coming out here like, I just have to have a dream and a vision board. And it's like, they find out real fast. Like, the vision board is great. I got some vision boards. But that mindset, you have to work on shifting that mindset now, to think creatively, to be enterprising. Like, all this stuff is new, so it's scary. So yeah, we're conditioned to be employees, not business owners.
Great point. I didn't even think of that until you brought that up. Greg, there was something you wanted to add?
Yeah, it was basically very similar. It's all about conditioning. We're not conditioned to think the way we're supposed to think, and your environment plays a lot into that. And the one of the things that always stuck with me was, you know, the story of, you know, the elephant. So it was, if you think about the circus and the elephants walk around, the elephant's like one of the strongest animals, you know, and how do they control that animal that's that big and that strong? See, when the elephant is a little baby, they tie its leg to a stake, and that stake is cemented, a big cement block in the ground, and that elephant cannot pull away from that cement stake. And he tries and he tries and he tries and he tries, but he can't pull away. And after so much of trying and not succeeding, he gets conditioned to think that he can't do it, right? He can't do it. And then as he grows up, all they have to do is tie a rope and just put a stake in the ground, and that elephant can walk away at any time. All they have to do is just decide and choose to walk away and be free. But it's conditioned to believe. And so most people are conditioned to believe they can't succeed, and they're not conditioned to believe they can do the things that they want to do. And then you add on fear to that, and that's what I think stops a lot of entrepreneurs right there.
Excellent, excellent point. Anyone else have something they'd like to add? Yes.
Yeah,
I'm just going to continue on that point.
L'Oreal, wait 1 second. We'll have Faith talk and then we'll have it.
So I was just going to continue on that point. That I think the opposite of fear is trust. And so, or maybe because we're afraid, we don't trust. And what we're not trusting, I'll just let that door close. What we're not trusting is ourselves, that inner voice we can't hear anymore. And so this overload of all the information in the environment, and do this and do that, and this coach says this and that, or whatever, it really is this over dependence on the information coming from the outside. And I think if we can hear our voice clearly, then we will know what information serves us. And it's so much easier to decide what information you need and who you should listen to when we learn to trust the voice inside. And so I think that if we could get back to a place where we trust that we know and hear from ourselves, and then use that to pull the information that we need from the outside.
Excellent, excellent ad. And L'Oreal.
I think that something that holds people back, that is a combination of everything that everyone has already said, is shame. Now, me coming from being a back end person, I get into people's businesses, and on the outside, they look like they have it all together. And then I get into their processes, and it's like, what are you doing? How did you eat? What is this? How are you making money? Seriously, how are you even able to make money? How are you able to serve your clients? Because nothing is together. And a lot of times it's like that because they didn't want to ask for help, and they were ashamed that they didn't have the answer. Because everyone is coming to them for the answers and expecting them to know what to do, and looking to them as the authority, as the expert, the professional. And so they are ashamed when they don't know what to do, when they can't figure out how to connect this to this so that it's automated. That's one thing that I think really holds a lot of people back, and it's not something that a lot of people will talk about.
That is definitely true. And I want to thank Gloria for helping me get my back end together, because it wasn't. Look, and that could go into all things. Everything looking all nice and pretty and shiny on the outside, but a hot mess on the inside. Not just in your business, but in your personal life, in your relationships, your health. All those things are all janky on the inside. So thank you for bringing that up. Is there anyone else who'd like to add to that question before we go on to our next lightning question?
Well, I feel like everybody else said something, so I want to say something too. Like everybody else really went. So what y'all not gonna do is leave me out.
You have the floor for Mira. Go ahead.
But no, seriously, I think that what I say is that it just all boils down to the box. People put themselves in boxes. They live in the boxes that other people have put them in, and they have like box upon box upon box. And a lot of times they have a hard time stepping outside of that box, right? So whether it's society telling them that they're supposed to show up a certain way, their family, their friends, then they get into this entrepreneurial space, and then it's like you see everybody else, and it's like, okay, well, I don't know if I really can do it my way because I see everybody else is doing it like this and they're following this plan. So then they put themselves in yet another box, knowing that on a soul level, they've already been told how they're supposed to show up and how they're supposed to do. But it's just kind of like, but is that realistic? Can I really do that? I'm not seeing anybody do that, because a lot of the women that I work with are actually trailblazers. So they're here to create this new path, or they're here to really create disruption in the industries that they work in. And a lot of times it's unpacking that box. And a lot of them, unfortunately, can't break fully free, and that's what really holds them back, or it takes them a lot longer to get to where they are. And trust me, I know this is my personal badge of story. But because it's just like, well, no one else is really doing it like this, I'm not really sure, so you have to be able to break free from all of those boxes, whether they're self-imposed or imposed by others.
Absolutely. And then you have to deal with the fear, and then you have to deal with trust, and then you have to deal with shame, and you're dealing with all those things that we were talking about that keeps you, and even with breaking this elephant, it keeps you right where you are, being frozen, not being able to move, not being able to do the things that you were called to do. I had no idea that that was going to be such a good question. I should have led with that one. All right. So this next question is near and dear to my heart. It's about networking, especially since I'm the president of Holistic Chamber of Commerce. And so I'd like to ask all of you, networking events, yay or nay? And so, Greg, I'm always going to pick on you because you're like right next to me. And so every time I look at me, I see you.
I have a weird feeling about network events. For me, it's not all the time. It has to be the right event, right? It has to be strategic for me. So I mean, I'm an extrovert, so I love going around and getting around people, but that doesn't mean it's going to turn into anything. So I usually am a little bit specific about the network events I go to. I kind of strategically pick the ones there where I think I can, benefit from. And when I do that, I don't usually try to, because when I've done it in the past, I've tried to be like, all right, I'm going to go here. I'm going to meet someone. I'm going to do something, or I'm going to meet the right person. I'm going to do the thing. When I do that, it never works out. So for me personally, I pick the one I want to go, and then I just go, and I usually let it happen. You may run across some people who have a strategy. It just didn't work for me, right? So when I just go, I meet the right person. It just always happens for me that way. So my personal take on it is just, it has to be the right event for me.
Premier?
I'm definitely the same way. I used to go to a lot of networking events, and prior to now, like I used to be in network marketing, different things like that. So it's like a thing you always go to. But I found, just for me, I think partially it has to do with, I'm an introvert. So that's the thing. I'm an introvert masquerading as an extrovert. And so for me, I prefer smaller interactions. So I would much rather go to like an intimate dinner with people, like mastermind, or simply like go get coffee or tea with somebody specifically. So what I've found is doing more of that as opposed to networking events. But like Greg said, if I do go to one, it is very strategic, like where it's like, okay, I really feel like I'm gonna take something away from either the information that they're sharing, or I know that the audience that's going to be there is going to be a very lush and like nurturing type of audience for me, in order for me to go. Because if not, I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Marsha?
What they all said. Ironically, years ago, I used to teach networking, and because I always did feel that there needed to be a strategy behind it. The one thing that I used to, if nothing else, try to get across to people is networking is just not a big room for you to go out like you're a blackjack dealer in Vegas and give a card to everybody that you walk up to. Like, who does that? And that's a guaranteed way for your card to be trashed. But now it's interesting because I used to be around this town, the queen of networking, the queen of introductions, and now the book escapes me. Oh goodness, Malcolm Gladwell wrote the book, and he talks about the difference between networkers and connectors. And I used to live for networking events, and now that has changed a lot. I really am very intentional about the few times a year that I'm actually going out live networking, because not because I know everybody in town, but if it's an event that I don't think an ideal client or an ideal referral partner will be likely to attend, it's really not worth my time. And I know the whole drill about it's not about that person, but about who they know. But there has to be some commonality before we want to sit down and take that. I teach rapport and make it into a, excuse me, make it into a relationship. So I'm not against it. I just make sure, because my time is really valuable to me and to those whom I'm called to serve. And so I want to be able to do that fully. So I will go, but not nearly like I used to.
Jen?
I agree with everyone. But what I'll say is this, I'm very interested in quality over quantity. So when I say everyone, Famira, I agree with the mastermind model. I'm okay with going to a brunch as long as I know there are quality leads there or connectors, people that I might be able to collaborate with. So I'll do that. If I go to an event, I will pay for the VIP so I can get into the VIP with the people, you know, that I need to be connected to. Just going to networking events, I usually ask a lot of questions because, as we know, some networking events are really just happy hour. And I'm a single mom and I'm an introvert. So I don't want to go to happy hour and have people just putting their card in my face. So I think it's really important for our energy and our self-care that we think about when I'm going to network, is this a quality event? And plan it out. What am I going there for? What's the purpose? What is my intention in going to this event? How much does it cost? Is it worth it? You know, all of that stuff before we just be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go, you know, because I got invited. That's my 2 cents.
Yes. Faith?
I don't go to networking events. Networking is lifestyle. So if I'm networking all the time, I only go to events if there's benefits to me outside of who I might meet. Like if there is information or insight or support, or my coach is going to be there and I want to go hang out with her, and maybe I will meet somebody and maybe that person will be a client. But networking is lifestyle.
Gotcha. L'Oreal?
I have not been to networking events the entire time I have been in business. I've never really been interested in them. I am also an introvert. I call myself a trained introvert because I interact well with people, but I don't people very often because I get tired of, you know, just constantly talking and engaging with people. But I am interested in finding events that really appeal to me and where I am right now, and the things that I would like to do to build my business and build my brand. But it's not something that's a high priority for me.
Gotcha. I understand. And Roberta?
Well, when you say the word network, that just like turns me completely off. I'm an introvert, and I'm like, I can't do it. And my girlfriend usually drags me to a couple, and I'm so not focused. I'm so like looking around the room and just seeing that most of the people are pretty much on the same level as I am. They're out there searching, trying to grab somebody to partner with or whatever. But if I'm going to like a birthday party or some kind of celebration, I know the kind of people that are going to be there, sort of, if I'm invited. And I'm more open and more relaxed they can see who I am. Like now, and I'm just me, I'm in the t-shirt or whatever. They can feel my energy, right? And so I do better meeting people in those kinds of settings than in a network setting per se, if you get what I'm saying. Right?
I do. I completely understand. All right, so I have one last question, and this question is for L'Oreal and Coach Sin. So L'Oreal, I'm gonna get you first. Are you with me?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you're frozen on my screen, but that's fine because we can still hear you.
Okay, awesome. Because everybody's frozen on my screen, so I don't know what's going on. But I'm here.
No, you're good. We can hear you. You're good. What is the most important process that you have in your business?
The most important process for me is my my client intake or my onboarding process. Because I am a systems person, I have already kind of like gone through the, you know, talking to my potential client about what this is going to look like, because this is something that I often create for them. And so I want to make sure that my process evokes a lot of the feelings that they want for their business and for their clients. I have had people actually sign up to work with me just because they wanted to see what my onboarding process was like. And so that for me is the most important process in my business, because I want my clients to feel taken care of. I don't want them to have any questions or any, you know, need for concern. So yeah, that's the most important process for me in my business.
Good said.
Okay, so this is a really great question for business, because most people are like, I don't want my business to fail. And they don't know really why businesses fail. They think it's because of money or whatever else. But really, it comes down to process. My process begins with the mind. The entrepreneur drives the business. So my process will begin actually in my notebook, where I am very strategic about writing down what is going on, what needs to take place. So for me in business, I developed a foundation, and from that, I develop like tasks and things that I have to do. And that foundation is 4 C's. So it's like courage. I actually will grade myself, and this is what I'll use with my clients itself. So it's courage, it's clarity. Am I clear? What am I doing? What is my intention in doing this? Does this make sense for me? What is it that people are going to hear from me? What are they understanding? Like making sure that I'm clear, I have clarity. Then there's consistency. It's easy to start something up and be excited and rah, rah, rah about it. But then if you can't measure it and track it, you don't know if it's really working out. And then the last one is community. So those are the 4 C's: courage, clarity, what did I say? Courage, clarity, consistency, and community. So community is like you guys, right? I'm going to figure out, okay, if I don't have this and this is not my strength, this is my weakness, who do I need on my team? Who am I looking for to find them? So I actually use this as a process in building out everything from the onboarding to the whole, you know, us working together to the exit. You know, when I give them the survey, how did it go? Did you, you know, was it okay for you? What's your feedback? And then I teach them to apply that to their business as well, so that they can always track and see, what do I need to improve? Do I need to improve my mindset, my clarity, my consistency, my community? What do I need to work on?
Excellent. Anyone else want to talk about their process, their most important process?
I got
Yes.
one. Our most important process is my automated billing system. So it makes sure that I get that money every month, every year, whenever it comes in. And people, you know, a lot of marketers talk about automation and they want to talk about the marketing. And the first thing I automated was charging those cards every single month. And so that, to me, that's the most important one, because when that one happens, everything else can happen. So
I love it. I love it. I'm getting my money automatically. Boom. Anyone else? No? All right. So we are going to wrap this up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me here on this business panel. And again, we're going to start with Greg. Do you have any last words, and where can they find you if they want to connect with you?
Well, I want to thank you for having me. I enjoyed being on tonight with everyone. I learned a lot. I took some notes, so thank you guys. If anyone wants to find me, they can find me at successteam1, that's the numeral 1.com. That's my digital agency. And you can just find me there, just get in touch, and whatever questions you have about your digital marketing, please don't be afraid to ask. I'll be more than happy to help you out with anything you may want to ask.
Thank you so much, Greg. Samira?
Again, my sentiments, I say thank you. This has been fun. Getting on here with everyone. As for me, I can be found everywhere on social media at I am Famira, and that's F as in fabulous, AMIRA, and as well as at my website www.famiragreen.com. And so, anything to do with your branding, marketing, or platform creation, I'm here for you.
Excellent, excellent. Marsha?
Well, again, I'm going to let my mama know she raised me right. Thank you so much. I knew it was going to be fun because we always cut up when we're together. But it was great for me to see some of these familiar faces and hear them talking as opposed to just reading their posts on social media. So great meeting all you guys and gals. But I can be found on social media pretty much across the board at Gratitude Speak. One word, no S at the end. But what I'd like to leave you with is make sure that in whatever you're doing, as my client experience icon said, Walt Disney, make sure that whatever it is that you do it to the best of your ability. So much so that not only will people want to come again and again to see you do it or experience how you do it, but they will bring others to do the same, because that's retention, referrals, and revenue.
Thank you so much, Coach Sin.
Thank you so much as well for having me. I'm excited and looking forward to the summit. And if everyone wants to stay connected with me, they can find me on social media on all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Sometimes I'm on Twitter as Ask Coach Sen. And I want to leave people with this. Starting a business is one of the scariest things you may ever do, but it's also the most rewarding thing that you can ever do. And just remember that you as the entrepreneur, it doesn't matter how much information you have, you drive the business as the entrepreneur. So I tell people, like, really pay attention to what's going on in their mind, what's going on emotionally. Emotional intelligence and the growth mindset, when that crosses, that's that success point right there. And my favorite quote is, success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. And that's the late, great Maya Angelou.
Thank you so much. Faith?
Hi, yes, no, this has been fantastic. Seeing live humans when you run business normally via the internet, right? So this has been fantastic. I'm on social media, primarily Facebook as Faith Clark, and faithclark.com, my website. And I think my one phrase is that this is not a dress rehearsal. It's showtime. We don't have the time to this is not practice. Let's just get to it and let's do it.
Yeah, get to it. Let's get some work done. Roberta.
Yes, you can find me on Facebook. My personal is Facebook page is Roberta E. Elliott Spate. My business page is Dreams Empowerment Network. You can find my website at www.dreamsempowermentnetwork.org. On Instagram, Space Speaks to Inspire, and on LinkedIn under my name as well. I wanted to leave to the audience who may be listening is to remember, it's never too late to birth your dreams. And you always remember, you have to dream big to win big.
Yes, indeed. And L'Oreal.
Well, similar sentiments to what's already been said. It was really nice to finally see some people. It was nice to talk to you guys, and this panel was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed myself, so thank you, Contessa, for this opportunity and for creating this space for us. It is absolutely wonderful, and I'm excited about the summit. For people who want to keep in touch with me, which I'm sure you do, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at the L'Oreal Moss, TheLorealMoss. And I want to leave people with something that has been slapping me upside the head recently. Your struggle doesn't make you special, so pick a different story.
Yes, pick a different story. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of the panel. And thank you, everyone, for watching and engaging with us. I'm so excited about the summit. You can learn more about me everywhere at Contessa Louise. I'm the only Contessa Louise. If you type in Contessa Louise, you will find me on Facebook, on Instagram. You'll find my website. You'll find everything. Not only that, but you'll find out all the information you need on how to get your free tickets for this panel. If you can't find it, let me know, and I will grab you by your hand and quickly walk you to the button where it says click here. All right, you guys, this has been fun. I love you. I will see you guys later. Until next time, bye.